Hey folks, Steve here. How you doing? The family picture, right? Well, this for me is absolutely something to see. Smart bench, the brand new smart station, new to me. And then in the background, my old compact workbench, built off of, I believe, version 2 of Ron Paulk's workbench plans. Back then it was called the compact bench, and I'm sure the plans are still out there available on his website. Well, there we go. I don't know as I've ever actually assembled both of these benches completely, had them up and running on carts, mind you, on fully functional carts. So they're ready to go. Cordless miter saw. So that's my first big cordless tool. I will not at this moment be going to a cordless job site table saw. I already have 2 table saws, the 748 that I have the cradle for, 10-inch blade, 24-inch cut capacity for, and that's what's on the table now. I have the, I think it's the 749, but I do have to build a cradle for that new saw. The model 749, 10-inch blade, but it has the longer arbor that will accommodate a dado stack, and that's why I ended up getting a second table saw. It has, I think, a 32-inch cut capacity. The cut capacity is not relevant to me because if I'm going to cut plywood, I'm going to be using a track saw to break it down. I'll use the table saw when the pieces are much more manageable rather than trying to break down like a sheet of plywood on a table saw. I've done it before, done it many, many times. Don't want to do it again. Found it on eBay for $350. It's normally a $550 saw. So I got one slightly used. Providing that it was a good deal, it should last me for a long time, and I'll be able to run dado stacks on it, which is important to me with some of the things that I do. But I have to build a completely brand new cradle for that, in that it is a larger saw with a bigger footprint than what this one is. So this cradle will not help me with that saw. No problem, not worried about that. At some point, I'll just make the cradle. Probably within the next 2 to 3 weekends, I'll just make sure I have the material on hand, and I'll just make a cradle for that one. And I'll probably film it. Go to rock and roll. I'm going to make a little sawdust today. I didn't have to set everything up, but I wanted to. And it was that easy. You saw how easy it was, or you will see, depending on how this video is edited, that it is that easy to actually set not 1, but 2 benches up. And I actually have a third bench. Not meaning that one over there, my old bench. I actually have a third smart bench, and that's one of those knockdown benches that are prefabricated that you can buy. I think it's last time I checked, the price was $6.95 for everything. That everything comes in it except for the cart. You don't get the cart, but you get the 2 sawhorses, you get the spreader shelf, and you get the complete box for the bench. Then you have to assemble it because it comes flat packed. Beyond that, you can actually buy that. Now, shipping, I can't remember what shipping was. I checked into it once, but I happened to be traveling out west, so I stopped at Salt Lake City and picked one up when I picked up all my lightweight plywood, which is what these are all built out of. So those 11 sheets of the ultralight plywood that I bought, that comes out of Canusa. It's a company called Canusa, but I picked it up from Paradise, who is a distributor of the Canusa plywood. So this is the ultralight, and it's 51 pounds a sheet for 3/4, meaning 18 millimeter. And it is lightweight. It is very lightweight, especially compared with my old bench. My old bench goes over 100 pounds. These benches are around 65 each. Now, this is just the box. It really makes a difference, so I'm very happy for that. And I'm looking forward to starting to use some, it's called Premcore Plus, which is even lighter than this stuff by 2 pounds, I think, 49 pounds a sheet. And the distributor is much closer to me. I'm in upstate New York, and they're in Ohio. So if everything works out, I'll be going there and picking up a few sheets, and I don't have to buy in bulk. I can go there and pick up 5 sheets, 10 sheets, whatever, and bring them back, and then test it out to see if that's the platform I want to operate with. And then after that, maybe I'll order some in. You saw me pulling the carts off of my transport cart over here. I call it the ATST, the all-terrain smart transport, because it's transporting smart benches. And that has recently undergone modification in that I have those 2 little cutouts on either end, and those 2 little cutouts correspond with the holes in the bench, because when the benches are up sideways, I use the cavities to actually store the bench parts, the sawhorses, the spreader shelves, etc. By relieving the material out of those 2 cuts, it opens up that entire hole, so I have full access to getting inside the bench with stuff, and that just makes it way more convenient. Before I took that material out of the cart, it was just a lot more difficult to get things inside, because it just narrowed up the cavity enough to where it was difficult. I could do it, but it was just difficult, and it didn't need to be. That was an easy modification, happy to do it, and that little cart got lighter, so why not, right? Well, it's time for me to now take that 1/2-inch sheet of plywood. It's AC ply, it's not any of the lightweight stuff, and I'm going to make some templates out of that. So I need to cut, I believe, 2 pieces out of that, and I got to figure out what size they're going to be, because I'm going to do my router tables. I have 2 router tables that are ready to go for this. So I physically created the router tables from Ron Paulk's plans with all the dog holes. They're just flat sheets of plywood of a certain dimension. All the dog holes are drilled in where they need to be, and they will set on this side, and there are 2 of them that can be side by side. And there will be a hole in the middle where a router plate will set kind of on a ledge, flush with the plywood part of the router table, which is the sheet of plywood, and then a hole in the middle, of course, where the router would come up and then attach to the plate. So I am going to create router templates from some of that 1/2-inch plywood there. I can actually then kind of finish this off. Once I have the router tables ready to go, then I'm going to go ahead and make the router fences. I believe all those parts are cut. It's then just a matter of figuring out how to assemble, making sure I have the correct hardware, and then figuring out how all this works, because it looks great when Ron's using it all. But for me, not being, I don't know, so mechanically minded, just kind of seeing geometrically how parts go together, it's one thing to watch him do all of this or see all of this when he uses it. It's another thing to actually make your own and put it together and go, hey, how does this work again? How's this going to fit? The router fences and the router table, it's kind of like that with me. Never used a router table before, so I'm excited. But there's going to be a learning curve there, just not only assembling and making the thing, but using the router table, and especially using it to its maximum capacity of what a router table could potentially do for me and my woodworking on the job site and with my own project. So very, very exciting stuff. Looking forward to the learning curve. However, I got to have a router table in order to actually even start the learning curve. So that's what I'm doing now. A couple things you can do. I have, I believe, a build video for the Smart Bench. I have a build video for the Smart Carts version 1. He also has a version 2 now, but version 1, which is what I am using. I have a lot of video shot for the Smart Station. I have not put that together yet as a video, but eventually I will, so that'll be up maybe before you see this video or maybe after, but I will have a build video for this. None of it is how-to. It's just my experience building the thing. That's what it is. But Ron Paulk has the definitive build videos for his stuff, so I would always steer you there. Okay, it's time to go get my router plate and figure out how big I need to start breaking that plywood down for and make some sawdust. Yay. Take care, have a great day, because you deserve it. Please like and subscribe. It's free to you, and it really helps the channel. It's a great way to say thanks. If you would, ring that bell and get notified when I drop a new video. Otherwise, I would simply say that I hope you see me on my next video, because that means you're watching it and I get another view. All right, y'all take care. Have a good one. Bye.